If you are a W-2 taxpayer, you most likely have a stable job and earn a decent living. But have you ever considered creating a side hustle because you saw a tax expert on YouTube explain to you how you can write off all of your expenses, take advantage of the many tax breaks afforded to businesses, and reduce your tax liability? Well, recently I have seen content from several prominent tax YouTubers promoting the creation of a side hustle as a valid tax strategy for the average W-2 taxpayer. But is this really a good tax strategy? Because while having a side hustle can provide you additional income, it also comes with a set of risks that are often overlooked. And these same tax YouTubers are not giving you the complete picture of the tax implications due to creating a side hustle, especially if you have a full-time job. So in today's video, my goal is to shed light on those risks and illustrate to you why creating a side hustle just to reduce your tax liability can lead to disastrous consequences. Now, before I go on, I just need to disclaim that while I am a CPA, I'm not your CPA. So I encourage you to reach out to your tax professional to determine whether having a side hustle is a good tax strategy for you. With the year end comes many tax YouTubers advising you to create a side hustle so that way you may immediately start writing off your expenses and thereby reduce your W-2 taxable income and therefore reduce your overall tax liability. Some of these write-off examples are deducting your home office, writing off your car, leveraging depreciation, and deducting your laptop. In fact, these same people say that they can reduce your tax liability to zero. But none of these tax YouTubers talk about one thing: compliance. What do I mean by that? Well, one important compliance factor to consider when creating your side hustle is whether the activity itself rises to a level of an active trade or business. And not all side hustles rise to that level. Additionally, the IRS tax code doesn't clearly define what an active trade or business is, but we may refer to two code sections that may provide meaningful insight as to what that definition looks like. Code section 162 says that there shall be a deduction for all ordinary and necessary expenses paid or incurred in carrying out a trade or business. What does this mean? This means that if you do not have an active trade or business, you cannot deduct any of your side hustle expenses. Code section 1.83-2B outlines 9 factors to determine whether a taxpayer is engaged in an active trade or business. These factors are time and effort spent, acting in a business-like manner, dependence upon the income, losses due to factors beyond the owner's control, whether there is intent to make a profit, knowledge, expertise. Will the activity generate profits in 3 out of 5 years? And asset appreciation. If some of these tests are met, then your side hustle's activity rises to a level of an active trade or business, and therefore you are able to start deducting your ordinary and necessary expenses. One great example of where a taxpayer's activity did rise to a level of an active trade or business is the tax court case TC Memo 2012-115. In this case, an attorney named Story was able to deduct all of her filmmaking losses because she acted in a business-like manner. She attended film classes. She hired a director. She hired actors and actresses. She changed the film name. And she hired consultants and experts to help her with the film. Now, just because your side hustle's activity rises to a level of an active trade or business does not mean that the compliance stops there. One tax court case that highlights an example of a taxpayer not meeting the material participation rules is TC Memo 2017-65. In this tax court case, Penley was unable to deduct all of his real estate activities because he used a handwritten calendar to document all of his time. And the tax court determined that that was not sufficient enough to meet the material participation rules. On the other hand, one tax court case that illustrates success is TC Memo 2017-68. In this case, Wyndham was a part-time stockbroker, and because she was able to meticulously document her time spent managing all aspects of her 11 rentals, the tax court decided that she met the material participation rules. But what if your side hustle activity doesn't rise to a level of an active trader business? Well, then you have what's called a hobby. Now, most tax YouTubers say that having a hobby is a bad position to be in. But I don't believe that's necessarily the case, because while you are unable to deduct your ordinary and necessary expenses, and you can only deduct cost of goods sold, if you show any pass-through income from your hobby, it is only subject to ordinary income tax and avoids self-employment tax, and that is 15.3%, which means, for example, let's say your side hustle activity does rise to a level of an active trader business, and you meet one of the material participation rules. Well, if your tax bracket is at 22%, now your total tax is at 37.3% because you need to add in self-employment tax of 15.3%. But if you have a hobby, you avoid the 15.3% and are only taxed at 22%. Whether a revenue-generating activity constitutes an active trader business can be straightforward, until not. And in my opinion, several prominent tax YouTubers can be aggressive in automatically saying that your side hustle activity does rise to a level of an active trader business and that you are a material participant. My approach is more compliance driven. So if you are considering creating a side hustle, I encourage you to work with your tax professional on a compliance-based approach, because in my opinion, being compliant is a much better tax strategy than arbitrarily saying that your side hustle activity rises to a level of an active trader business and that you are a material participant, all while risking you receiving a love letter from the IRS. Thanks for watching another episode of Tax 411. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the like button, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, share with your friends, and follow us on all social media platforms.